Two men chased the exact same impossible dream: to conquer the sky, to do what no human in history had ever done before. One of them had everything: money, power, the full attention of the world. The other had nothing: no funding, no audience, no one who believed in him. Both were certain they would succeed, but only one of them would. And the reason why had nothing to do with talent. It had everything to do with when they chose to speak. Before he ever succeeded, he felt like he already had. Every speech he gave, every handshake, every headline with his name on it gave him something dangerous, a reward he hadn't earned. Because the human mind can't always tell the difference between real progress and public recognition. So every time people praised him, it felt like he was getting closer, even when he wasn't. And that's how it happens. You talk about the goal, people clap, they support you, they tell you how great it sounds, and your brain feels satisfied, as if the work is already done. So the hunger fades, the urgency disappears, and the work quietly starts to die. The moment a dream is exposed too early, it doesn't grow stronger, it weakens. Before he ever succeeded, he felt like he already had. Every speech he gave, every handshake, every headline with his name on it gave him something dangerous, a reward he hadn't earned. Because the human mind can't always tell the difference between real progress and public recognition. So every time people praised him, it felt like he was getting closer, even when he wasn't. And that's how it happens. You talk about the goal, people clap, they support you, they tell you how great it sounds, and your brain feels satisfied, as if the work is already done. So the hunger fades, the urgency disappears, and the work quietly starts to die. The moment a dream is exposed too early, it doesn't grow stronger, it weakens.
Still, he moved forward. The machine began to take shape. Piece by piece, metal, wood, and ambition coming together into something that looked like the future. It was massive, expensive, impressive. Everything about it looked like success, and the world was watching. Crowds gathered, reporters lined up, cameras ready. They weren't there to see if it would work. They were there to witness when it would, because in their minds, failure was no longer an option. This was supposed to be the moment, the proof, the validation, the turning point where belief became reality. All the praise, all the attention, all the expectations had led to this. And then it was time to test it.
The machine lifted and failed. It didn't glide. It didn't soar. It didn't even try. It crashed straight into the river. The crowd gasped. The cameras captured every second. The headlines would never forgive. Praise turned to ridicule. Admiration turned to laughter. Faith turned to scorn. And the man who had felt unstoppable was broken. Not by the machine, not by the challenge, but by the world. Because his confidence had been built on applause, and applause can vanish in an instant. When it did, so did his will. He quit, walked away, and the dream he had once promised to the world died with him. His failure wasn't just public, it was personal. Every handshake, every headline, every cheer he had relied on to feel powerful, all of it had disappeared. Without the world's approval, he felt empty. The fire that had driven him forward was gone. Not because he lacked skill or vision, but because he had never built that fire for himself. He had traded internal hunger for external validation. And when the applause stopped, so did he. The dream that could have changed everything was abandoned. And far away, in silence, another story was beginning. Far away, where no one was watching, two men were preparing for the same impossible dream. No crowds, no cameras, no applause. They had nothing but their hands, their minds, and a small workshop. And unlike the first man, they made a choice that would change everything. They would speak to no one. Every failure, every struggle, every breakthrough would happen in silence. No validation, no pressure, only work. And in that quiet, they would grow stronger than anyone could imagine. Far from the noise of the world, two men quietly prepared for the same impossible dream. No fame, no money, no government backing, just a small bicycle shop, just their hands, just their minds. Every day they worked, every night they planned, every failure they faced in silence. No applause waited for them, no crowds judged them, no one told them they were doing well or failing, and that was exactly their advantage. If you're wondering who these men were and why the world didn't notice them at first, stay with me until the very end, because when their names are finally revealed, you'll see how silence, patience, and unseen work changed history forever. They left the world behind. Miles away from civilization, they found a desolate stretch of sand dunes. No reporters, no applause, no distractions. Here, failure carried no shame. Here, every mistake was a lesson, not a spectacle. They built, they calculated, they tested, and when it broke, they repaired it over and over again. The world didn't see their struggle. The world didn't cheer for their tiny victories, and that was exactly how it needed to be. Because in silence, they discovered a truth few ever learn. The seed of a dream grows strongest when it's protected from the light of attention. Every blow of wind, every grain of sand, every lonely night made them sharper, stronger, more determined. And as they worked, the dream that had crushed so many others slowly began to take root. What happened next would change history. And if you've been following carefully, you'll soon see why the world didn't even believe it at first. The world had watched the other man fail spectacularly. He became a footnote in history, remembered only for his ambition and his collapse. But these two brothers? They didn't announce their flight. They didn't seek fame. They simply built, tested, failed, and tried again. And when the machine finally soared, the newspapers didn't even believe it at first. The men who had changed the course of history were Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright. Two brothers from a small workshop. No funding, no fanfare, no audience. Just patience, silence, and relentless work. If you've ever felt like the world was watching your every move, take a lesson from them. Protect your dream, work in silence, and let your results do the talking. And now that you know their names, imagine what you could achieve if you did the same. The loud man announced his dream. The world celebrated it. And when it failed, the applause vanished, and so did he. The silent men buried their dream deep in the dark soil of patience. They worked unseen, endured countless failures, and let their ambition grow stronger in silence. No one watched them struggle. No one applauded their small victories. And when the world finally saw their achievement, it was undeniable. The lesson is simple. Your ideas, your dreams, your goals, protect them, nurture them, let them grow away from the noise, because the world doesn't need to know what you plan. It only needs to see what you accomplish. Speak less, work more, and when the seed is ready, let the result make the noise.